Welcome back
Yes, to the
to
illustrious number 42.
Illustrious 42. Today we are doing Orc by OCs, the OCs, OCS, whatever you want to call
Yeah,
them.
literally.
Score guess.
Me first?
Sure.
Okay. I know OCs or the OCs or whatever you want to call them are a band that you like.
Used to like them
it's
a
a
lot more,
band
but
in your friend circle's rotation. So I'm gonna give this one for you I'm gonna say you like it. Upper tens, low hundreds. I'm gonna hedge my bets a bit and go with 84.
okay. For you, I will guess definitely too abrasive for you to really be above 100. I would say. I'm gonna guess probably 40s.
Okay.
40s.
Farties, he
Farties.
says. Farties.
First time hearing.
Last week. Yep, that's about it.
I got a little bit of history with the album because I remember it came out after we had graduated. It was like the first album that all the boys were stoked on after we graduated high school. So it went around for a while within our circle. We all liked the OCs going through high school. Some of us more than others. Some of us like some of their stuff, not their other stuff.
Right.
Some of us weren't super into them. But everybody, all of us pretty much heard Orc when it came out. And I think we were all pretty stoked when it came out. But yeah, I heard it right when it came out.
Awesome.
Get into it?
Please.
The OCs are an American band formed in San Francisco in 1997. They are now based in LA. It was originally the solo project of John Dwyer, the main creative force. He's the only guy I'll really say as we talk about the album. If we do any other albums by this guy, I'm not even going to say OCs. I'm just going to say John Dwyer most of the time. So the band has been through numerous lineups since its founding, but Dwyer has always been there. The band is known for their garage rock, krautrock, psychedelic, and folk music. They are also known for their prolific album output, having released 26 albums, studio albums, with their 27th coming out, I believe, in August.
So they're kind of like Gizzard in that way, where they just pump music
They have
out?
more than Gizzard.
They have more?
Yeah.
Holy crap. Do they drop more than one a year?
They've dropped 2 or 3 sometimes,
Holy
but they
crap.
always drop at least one a year for like the past 6 or 7 or 8 years.
Wow.
Even with COVID going on, they were still dropping albums. So only 5 albums feature their current lineup, their last 5, about to be 6.
Do they change names anytime that there's a lineup change?
No.
Oh.
They changed names for a reason I'll get into, but
Okay.
they are also known for changing their name frequently. So right now, names include Orinoco Crash Suite, OCS, Orange County Sound, the OCs with stylized as the, and then O, no space, C's. The OCs with spaces, the OCs with a double E on the, OCs and their current name, just the letter O. I mean, it's kind of hard to explain. OSEES, yeah. Dwyer expressed that the name changes are done in opposition to the music press, which he has explained he has nothing but contempt for. He hates them. He hates them, and yeah, he likes to change their name to piss him off. It's never really pissed me off, though. Even though I have like 5 different people in my music library under OCs or some variant, but Dwyer began releasing songs in early 1997 under Orinoco Crash Suite as a solo project while he participated in bands such as Pink and Brown and Coach Whips. I have heard all of Coach Whip's discography, but not Pink and Brown very much. The The project expanded to 4 members in 2005 with OCS4. Get Stoved. That album. That's when they started to get more people. It eventually featured Bridget Dawson, a revered member of the scene that the OCs occupy. I do think that the stuff with her involved is some
Mhm.
of their greatest records with much
Is
folk
that
inspiration.
is that the like late 2000s era?
No, early 2000s.
Oh, okay.
It's like all their folk stuff.
Oh, gotcha.
Around this time, Dwyer founded Castleface Records, the main label of the scene, releasing things like Damaged Bug, Dwyer's new solo project,
Mm.
King Gizzard's early albums,
Oh, shoot.
Pow, Ty Segall, and White
I
Fence.
think so. These guys predate Gizzard.
Yeah. Um, Black Dice also has some correspondence with the label where some of their members release material under. Black Dice doesn't release their stuff under it, but there's members of Black Dice with their own solo projects who have released stuff under it. Lucas sent demos into them in high school, but he was never signed. That's why he
Dang.
started this label, Porque No Records, because they wouldn't let him sign.
Porque no?
Yeah, exactly. A major stylistic change occurred in 2007 with the release of The Master Bedroom is Worth Spending a Night In. That changed from all their folk stuff to more garage rock stuff. So major change. It marked a higher energy garage sound. So I have that there. They released most of their critically acclaimed material during this time up to about 2013, or up to about their 2013 hiatus. While being a short hiatus, it wasn't really a hiatus. I don't know why but while being short hiatus, the band shifted lineups, moved to LA, and released some of their best material, although not the most acclaimed, in my opinion, between 2014 and 2016. They began to shift to a much heavier sound with 2017's Orc, the album we're doing today, and have remained with this sound since. They are known live for their prolonged jam sessions mid-song. They also have incorporated 2 drummers, which is very unusual for the genre. Did you catch that at all?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I feel like you have to have a pretty trained ear or know ahead of time
notice,
to be able to pick it out. But there is some parts that after I found out I was able to pick on. I'm like, okay. And when I saw them live, yeah, I mean, it all made sense. It's weird. They have like one that does like rhythm, which is what all drums are doing most of the time. But then they have like a melodic one that like uses the toms a lot to make a little bit of a melody. So it's weird. Very unusual for the genre. On their prolific discography, Dwyer has said this: "We work hard. I think it seems strange for us to release so many records because of the tradition in the recording industry to do things a certain way. For decades, it's been months and months in the studio, one release a year, tour this, tour that, do this, do that. We just do what we want to do. Most of the songs have been worked out by the time we get into the studio, so we can record them all live in 1 or 2 days. The other 2 days in the studio are having fun writing on the spot and having fun."
Nerd.
I have noticed in live events that Dwyer plays a glass body Gibson SG. His guitar is all glass body.
That sounds very
With the
pretty.
strap taut so his guitar sits very high up on his chest. He'll play like up here. Yeah.
Really? What's this guy's name?
Dude, he like hugs his neck with his face. His guitar neck.
What's his first name?
John Dwyer. You can see his glass.
What
SG
the
right here.
heck?
Yeah.
Why? Dang, that's beautiful that it's see-through like that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Whoa.
I think
That's
he
a
made it
cool
himself.
freaking guitar, dude.
Yeah. I've played SGs before and I don't like them too much, but that thing is pretty sick. But
Yeah, he really does put it all the way up there.
yeah. So, to this day, he has been involved in or still is involved in 15 bands / projects, only one of them being the OCs.
Oh, wow.
He's got stuff Damaged Bug, which I played at
Not bad.
it's all electronic stuff. I played it at the graduation party
Your graduation.
when
party.
we were playing beer pong.
Yep.
And I remember you saying it wasn't terrible, but if I showed you, would you remember if I showed you the album cover?
Yeah, the album cover is
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. All of his Damaged Bug stuff sounds pretty different. I found Michael Yonkers through this one. Bug on Yonkers.
Oh wow, he
He
collaborated.
covered.
Oh, covered.
No, because Yonkers is old. I think he's dead, but
Oh,
he covered a lot of Michael Yonkers songs. So that's all I have on the artist. I'll get into album. Orc is the 19th studio album released by them. It was released on August 25th, 2017. John recommended it because it was a hit of my friend, so shout out John.
shout out Johnny.
I told him we're doing your album in a couple of days, and he's like, damn, I offered you guys that shit like 4 months ago. It's like, bro, we got a lot of albums. Classified as garage rock, psych rock, heavy psych, krautrock, and garage punk.
I'm honestly not familiar. I've never listened to krautrock before. I
Never
know
like Can?
I know it exists in the same sphere as prog, which is seemingly would be up my alley, but I have not heard it.
It probably it's. I mean, yeah, I could see it being in the same sphere as prog, but reviews range from yellow to orange. Personnel included Dwyer on guitar, vocals, mellotron, synth, flute, recorder, fife, hand percussion, keyboards and sampling. Tim Hellman on bass, Dan Rincon and Paul Quattrone on drums. Bridget Dawson and Joe Cueto also provide vocals and violin on certain tracks. Production was done by Dwyer, Ty Siegel, Eric Bauer, and Enrique Tina. Mixing was done by Bauer and Tina. Mastering was done by J.J. Golden, and engineering was done by Tina, Siegel, and Bauer. Cover and artwork was done by Robbery Beatty and features an orange lower backdrop that fades into green as you move vertically up with the top half of a creature that might be considered an orc.
Let's see. It's
top half of the head of a creature that might be considered an orc. I think he's also got some bleeding going on. Let's see.
Yeah, he's got like snot running. He honestly reminds me of like the type of stuff I used to draw in like middle school, high school, because I used to we would draw this like face, just like a pretty standard face, and then I'd just pass the paper back to a friend, and we'd just add like a grotesque detail, and then he'd pass it back to me, and I'd add a detail, and it would just be stuff like this, like a random like crack in his skull, some goo oozing out, a fly on his dome piece, ripped up ears. Like, this guy looks pretty dope. This guy looks awesome. I like his like glowing red eyes too. There's like no eyeball. There's just like the glow of the light source. It's a really cool little
fairly simplistic, but not overly simplistic.
I like that. I like it. I like the palette too. I tried to match the purple orc, and the green, but I ain't got no orange. I'm trying, folks.
Yeah, so fairly interesting.
Fairly.
That's all I got on the album.
Wow, quick. Love that. The Static God, which is quite a freaking opener, dude. It literally just opens up and just blasting you in the face with these crazy sounding guitars. Just like a bunch of them, like a wall of sound just crashing into you. I described it as an abrasive, hardcore punk inspired indie rock band, or song I should have said, with fantastical lyrics and super abrasive cacophonous guitars and Bad Brains style vocals. Bad Brains being that aforementioned hardcore punk band of the 80s. There's something interesting. There's like a vocal crack to it, almost similar to like who's that guy from the 50s with the dumb voice? He does the Buddy Holly. He does like the vocal crack. He'll like sing a line and then
Elvis does that a lot too.
Yeah, Bad Brains does that too. And other than the hiccuping sound, these vocals sounded pretty Bad Brainsy, which is not a style that I'm particularly known for loving vocally. The atmospheric organ bridge in the middle sounds great though, and is a good pause from the lunacy.
I said I immediately don't like the high-pitched, scratchy guitar, but I do like the aggressive child vocals. Yeah, it's like a kid who doesn't get what he wants at the
I think
store or
he just
something.
sounds like
But
a little fantastical creature. Like I think he's playing a character.
yeah, I
This
mean,
does not give orc vibes though. This sounds like a
I know.
goblin. This is a little gremlin.
No, this is Gremlin style for sure.
Yeah.
But he does a lot of different vocal things throughout the album.
Yeah, almost every song
It's
actually.
even
Not
more
almost,
than
every single
Dan
song.
Auerbach from Black
Yeah.
Keys. I would say that he
I
changes up
agree.
his vocal styling, but um, every other part that's not scratchy guitar is sweet, and the ooh ooh ooh, those parts before the scratchy guitar are quintessential OCs that sound good. I can jam pretty hard to this song until the guitar part comes on, and then I get the message, but it just sounds bad to me.
Wow, I'm surprised you're not into the
Um,
raw abrasiveness.
Well, it's too high pitched and scratchy. Like
yeah, it's very.
I'm
high-pitched.
quite amazed though at how he made that sound because it does seem pretty unique. I've never heard that. And I get that there's probably mixing a whole bunch of guitars there, but like
Yeah.
if he's just like jamming on chords or something, I don't know how he did that, but a lot of other stuff that John Dwyer does with his guitar. I just said it sounds unique, just like a lot of other stuff that John Dwyer does with his guitar on
Gotcha.
other albums. But like he's Jimi Hendrix-esque in that way.
Ooh,
He can make a lot of weird sounds.
Oh, okay. That's
So-
yeah, that makes more sense. Night Expo. A goofy little short song with silly sounding high pitched synths. Playful sounding rhythm. Eventually, like maybe 2/5 into the song, some nice grungy guitar work comes in before like a sleek bass riff begins to play. Boom, 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 which I like that riff. It sounds awesome. And then the singing begins where the lead singer exaggerates his voice to sound more like, this
John
time, what I
Dwyer.
would presume to be like an orc vocal. This loop of grungy guitar to bass riff to vocals happens a few times, and that's pretty much the whole song.
It's not too long.
Mm-mm.
That synth bugging around sounds sick to me.
Nah, it's goofy. Especially the very beginning of the song. I'm talking about in the very, very beginning of the song.
Well, I don't know if
like first few seconds.
Yeah.
It's all like buzzy, super buzzy.
Yeah, I said it's
sounding.
like bugging around.
Bugging. I can feel that.
I think that's sick. Also, that bass sliding around throughout the track sounds sweet.
Awesome. Yeah.
I love the vocals too. It's like a kid being grumpy, and Dwyer has also just been weird in that regard. Like,
Mhm.
I can definitely see him being like just like a grumpy kid, you know. Glad the song is short and sweet.
Yeah, it's a sweet relief from 13-minute songs of yesteryear.
Yeah.
Animated violence. Back to that punk influence with the orc voice sounding more hardcore punk adjacent this time, more of like a deep bellowy yell of aggression, more as opposed to like the childlike nature that he was getting in the prior
Definitely think it was
songs.
like dramatized. Though.
Yeah. There's a nice clean sounding guitar riff that also slides, kind of similar to the bass riff in the prior song actually, and it breaks up the heavier sections. Though I'd say it still has an overall punk/noise rocky sound and energy to it. Towards the end, reverb increases as well as echoey shouting, giving it a heavy psychedelic sound. And by heavy psychedelic, I don't mean it's heavily psychedelic. I mean it's heavy psychedelic music, which sounds interesting. And then the song ends. Short and sweet.
I said it's another one of the grungy heavy hitters on the album. It's so heavy and rough on the vocals, and it sounds so sick when you know that John Dwyer doesn't do it that kind of vocal styling that much, aside from maybe some of his fewer albums. But The guitar build-up is quite badass as well. Just picturing John vibe out to this song is so funny, though. My buddy John.
Oh yeah, true. What the heck?
Glad he recognizes how badass it is, though. Heavy hitter for sure.
I would also like to add, you may dislike, I guess you don't because you don't even know what it is, but there's a genre called pirate metal. And some of this album gave me pirate metal vibes, which is not a compliment. Pirate metal is like a kind of a cosplay-esque Renaissance fair type music thing where people dress up as pirates, matey, and sing heavy metal, talking about pirate ships and sailing the open sea to like heavy metal guitars and drums. It's so like to me that's just so like poser dork. A lot of this album gave me that vibe, but it's not. It doesn't. It's not as. It doesn't have like the cringe poser factor. Uh, but if you really, 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 really love the fantastical silliness of talking about bashing skull-ins and whatever, then you would probably like pirate metal.
I feel like I've listened to an album recently that's reminded me a lot of like
Pirate
sea
metal,
shanties
matey.
and whatever.
Pirate metal.
I can't remember what it was though, but
Keys to the Castle, which you somehow managed to skip all the vocal sections of, but
there's only 1 minute of vocals.
oh really? Okay.
Yeah.
Keys to the Castle, another groggy noise rock song, at first with more of those fantastical vocals and lyrics and a catchy bass line. But this song turns into more of a prog direction with a complete switch up 2 minutes into a washed out fuzzy psychedelic section with strings, soft guitar strumming, and a prominent drum beat that marches the song forward. I think this song has an awesome sound and vibe to it. I love that reverb washed like orchestral there's a name for that stringed instrument.
Well, it was a violin.
It's
This is
just
what
a
they were
normal
playing.
violin. Yeah, it sounds awesome with that washed out psychedelic tinge to it. Really cool song.
Yeah. I don't like the splunky first section of this song. And then the vocals kind of sound bad. I don't like the vocals. I don't like the bass. I don't like the heavy guitar section as much. But I can tell that they are having an amazing time making this song. With that said, the back half of the song is so good. When the guitar builds up with a deeper tone to the final section of the song, you can just tell the song is going somewhere good. Well before the good part even hits. There's a droning sound that drowns out, and then you get this electrifying synth drone with minor modulations on it. It's like a wow, 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 and it just sounds like, in my head, the purest audio of an electrical signal ever.
Yeah.
It's like this is the exact sound that would be made if you can hear an electrical signal traveling through a circuit board. It's got a clear signal with a natural amount of noise, and it just sounds like an organic sound. It's like the sound an atom would make if you can hear an atom. Then that droning fades out to just a piano section and the two drummers playing lightly, leading into this introspective feeling. The droning synth sound slowly building back up with that pure signal, and then some violin section that ever so melancholy just leaves you with deep, brooding, introspective thoughts. So only about 10% of the song is bad, but the rest is so good.
Okay. Okay, cool. Jettisoned is another fuzzy noise rock song that's almost all just groggy, heavy psych riffing, as the song is like 5 minutes and there's about only 1 minute of singing. The echo effect added to some of the lines sounds really cool, and the fantastical voices are toned down. It seems a bit more like a human singing as opposed to an orc or goblin or gremlin or troll or dragon or
A dragon singing.
I don't know or hobbit or what's the hybrid orc thing?
What?
The hybrid orcs in Lord of the Rings?
Urukai?
Urukai. Yeah, it doesn't sound like that either. It sounds more like just a dude.
Yeah. I said the next song picks right back up after the melancholic outro of the last song. They lead right into each other. It's got a little bit more spookiness to it than the other heavier tracks. The vocals are way good on this one. The song also has the classic weird slide that Dwyer always does with the
Yeah, sounds cool.
the heavy sections come in every now and then with noticeable use on musical rests that are suspenseful. And then the solo goes so hard on the guitar while the bass is just at the same time just popping off too. The line "Who likes sugar in their coffin" I think is a way clever play on words too, because it sounds like he's gonna say
Coffee.
the standard question of
Yeah.
who likes sugar in their coffee. But then he gets all death and brooding, more mortality about it.
Cadaver dog. I should say. I don't know. I don't know. They do different voice with each song. That was not that accurate. It's okay. You heard it in the preview. This song starts off with psych organs, a nice bass line, and nice drumming before rough, lowly mixed vocals join in too. This is another one of those times where the vocals are kind of fantastical and orc-esque. Doesn't really evolve from there until the end, where we get kind of a Jimmy-esque acid rock solo to top the whole song off. That solo gave me Jimmy vibes.
Dude, it's fucking badass.
Yeah, it's a crazy solo. Did you reference Jimmy earlier in this episode, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
It was. Yeah, well,
Yeah,
I
he
guess
makes
I
weird-
felt that energy in the song.
He makes weird sounds with his guitar. And I said this song has always been one of my favorites on the album. It is my favorite on the album.
Wow.
It's got that organ in the intro and then like a slick bass line to complement it. The vocals are sick within the context of the song too. I mentioned that the lyrics, this is the perfect scenery for lyrics to be cringe, but for whatever reason, Dwyer writes good ass lyrics regardless.
Yeah, it's like, because the medieval fictitious world, you could get really poetic and silly with big words,
yeah.
but since it's just an orc, it's just saying simple, aggressive, edgy things, which sound cool, pretty sick.
It's just that you have this beautiful song with these ugly vocals that's just so sickeningly aggressive. And
It's so interesting, like the idea of like
it.
fusing like punk
Awesome
and noise
feeling,
rock with the
if you're into
freaking
that.
ogre.
Yeah.
Oh, that's another one I forgot. Ogres.
Yeah.
So interesting.
Then the screaming guitar that comes in and plays a badass solo, which Dwyer always looks like he's having so much fun playing. He jams so hard live, like playing solos. One of my favorite OC's songs in general.
Oh wow, heck yeah. Paranoise is a cool instrumental that starts off with some crazy high-pitched, like clippy electronic noise that I can't really describe over a bass line and a prominent drum riff before getting into the main riff as two guitars play.
I think those are synths.
Really? I thought it was guitars. Two guitars playing. One of them starts doing its own thing at some point and goes off on tangents, making weird bouncy noises, which sound really interesting, super unique sound. Towards the end, the riff gets a bit heavier and more grungy before abruptly ending to the sound of raindrops. It's a very interesting instrumental listen. There's a lot of weird little isms happening all throughout the song. I like the name of the song. I feel like it describes it well. Like, so there's like a weird, paranoid, obscure noise nature to it. It's a cool sound, a cool song.
The song, I said it has a kind of dumb guitar part while the background noise is interesting. And not interesting at the same time. So maybe it was a guitar part. Maybe I was thinking about something else when you were talking about it. But yeah, it could be. I think so. I think that's what I'm referencing. Yeah. So depends on how you're listening to it, though. Got the classic OCs guitar slide again, but mixed in really low this time. It might be hard to notice. It's also got like bubbling sounds, like a pot boiling if you listen closely.
Yeah.
Definitely just a song that they that was made while they were having fun doing post-production work on it.
Hmm.
I feel like they added a lot of the stuff afterwards and just were like having a fun old time. So once the heavy guitar part comes in around the end of the song, it starts to sound way sick with that guitar tone. But it's a little too late to make it a good song, in my opinion.
Oh, the window's open.
Definitely has 1,000, or definitely 1,000%. They had so much fun making this song, though.
Oh yeah.
But when I said it depends on how you're listening to it, it's like if you're like actually listening, I think you'll find the song interesting. But if you're just playing it in the background, like you're gonna be like, the song sucks. But
yeah, fair. I like.
But it is an interesting. There's like
Very
you said, all the
interesting,
isms.
quirky isms. Ought is the most prevalent of the isms.
Autism. Oh yeah.
Cooling Tower, another instrumental, picks up with raindrops from the prior song, but is a goofy little track with silly sounding synths and an overall very cartoony feel.
Okay, we get it.
Super cartoony and bouncy and silly. Sounds like something Patrick Star, something that would play in the background was like Patrick Star bonks his head on like a rock or something.
For real.
With that song playing in the background. Eventually, the silly sounds are replaced by a pretty good bass and guitar and drum work, but it goes right back around to the silly keyboard sounds of your Y-O-R-E, not Y-O-U-R. And yeah, that part kind of kills the momentum. It'd be cool if the silliness built into something cooler and then stayed cool, but it kind of is like a movie with the build drop. The middle section's the only part I really like about the song.
Yeah, I said it sounds pleasant as it starts. The buzzing sound, and I go. I said that's why I see that gives me orc vibes to me. It sounds like music that orcs would be making for sure. Like if you could walk into an orc encampment, they'd be making that kind of buzzing.
It's like they'd be doing like Mongolian throat singing.
Wow.
Right.
Maybe for vocals, the bass line though is so good. Probably the best part of the song. The western sounding electrified guitar part that comes in sounds way badass too.
Mm-hmm.
It starts swaying a bit more and more as it progresses, which sounds kind of funky. Not, I shouldn't say funky, but goofy is a good way. Before fading back into the buzzy, so it's got good and bad.
Mm-hmm. Drowned beast, or should I say drowned beast, because the vocal effect. All right, this is an awesome anthemic psych garage banger. Raw and powerful guitar riffs. Sounds so powerful and super cool. And they have a washed out feel to them, and the vocals, which are my favorite sounding on the album. The vocals
do sound sick.
are kind of like, it's like the orc, it still has that orc tinge to it, but he's kind of singing more softly, almost whispery, and it has like an effect over it too that makes it sound really echoey and soft and pretty. I like the sound a lot. It sounds awesome. I also like how as he gets singing, there's like a descending orchestra too that kind of just like soothes you into that section of the song. Sounds really freaking cool. They also have a more directly psychedelic sound during the slowed down parts. And I liked the melodies on the chorus. So it's cool to listen to all these soft, pretty sounds happening and then just get punched right back in the face with that awesome freaking slamming riff. it feels like getting hit by a train for sure, because you're kind of like wooed into this psychedelic lullaby state with the whispery vocals of Pryor in the song. This is definitely my favorite song on the album.
It used to be my second favorite. I think it's dropped in recent years, but
Sad.
the song is a blend of absolutely heavy and then soft as a kitty.
Mm-hmm.
In the heavy parts, you can feel the pressure on your skull as you hear it, and the guitar tone is so good sounding. Then the vocals start, and it's so elegantly recorded. It sounds really good, but in my opinion, the soft sections are a little too long.
Oh, I like soft music, you know me.
Well, if you halved the length of the song and just had those two heavy parts and then half the soft part, it'd be an amazing song. It'd probably be my favorite on the album.
I think it's awesome. It's my favorite on the
I think
album.
it's a little too long, but Raw Optics.
Raw Optics goes back to a more upbeat and fast-paced sound, kind of taking a bit of the cacophony of prior tracks with a tinge of the cartooniness of other tracks at first, before slowing down to a near emptiness in the midsection, featuring just a bass line and jazzy drumming and a windy sound in the far background. The drumming picks up in intensity before basically just becoming a drum solo song. And in the last minute of the song, it gets cacophonous and psychic garagey again. But so much time is wasted by the drum solo section that overall the song to me ends up feeling a little boring. However, compared to the next album, which ended up being the prior album, this song would be considered way too lively for anything on that garbage. So it's all relative.
I think the drumming, like, I'm not a huge fan of drum solos unless
Me
they're like
neither.
really
Me
good.
freaking neither, dude.
But this drum solo I thought was sick because it incorporates the two drummers. I think this is where it really shines. One is like melodic and one is rhythmic, and it sounds crazy. But this song is the drum song of the album. Don't really like the guitar sections, but the drumming is insane. Pretty boring at some parts because the drumming doesn't really do much melodic stuff by itself aside from the toms, but even then it's like 3 or 4 pitches in the song. Interesting effect work on the guitar and synth scatter in the background in some parts, and they're all mixed low. The end mixes things up with guitar jamming, but then the song abruptly ends, and that is it for the album.
Dang. Way to end an album. Just over.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. And with that,
score reveals.
I don't think either of our scores will be offensive. I think I'll go first. You guessed a 40, and you guessed correctly. 44. A few songs I like. Most were zeros, mainly because of the pirate metal nature of some of the voices. Cadaver Dog was almost a 0, but the instrumentals were just too good. Drowned Beast will probably become a +2 at some point, but I was too overburdened having to trudge through the last album to really give this album as many spins as I normally do. I've listened to this album about 4 times as opposed to usually I do like 6 or more. So yeah, Drowned Beast, definitely my favorite song. At first, the song that stuck out to me the most was Paranoise, and then Keys to the Castle, and then Drowned Beast, and then Cadaver Dog. It went in order of those going to +1s, but I actually think now that Drowned Beast is my standout track. I do like Keys to the Castle's progginess too, though, and Paranoise is a really interesting listen.
All right.
Low 84, please.
126.
Oh, I hedged my bets too much. Way too much.
I have a 3. I have 3 2s, some 0s, 3 1s.
That caught me off guard for sure.
So Static God, that high-pitched, scratchy guitar. The song comes on, though, you know, I'm going to be like, this is kind of annoying until it gets good at some parts.
Yeah.
But Night Expo, really like the synth work. Then I have 3 straight 2s. Animated Violence with that aggressive vocals. Keys to the Castle with that prog section. Jettisoned. All great. Cadaver Dog then is a 3. So that part of the album is amazing to me. Paranoise I have as a 0.
What?
Just because it depends on the context. I mean, if I'm driving, I don't think I'm going to be listening to it. But if I'm sitting in my chair listening to something, it sounds like a good song. Cooling Tower I had as a 1. I just like the uh, uh, folky country guitar pluckiness.
Okay.
Drowned Beast is a 1. Used to be a 2.
Oh, come on. That's the best song in the album.
And Raw Optics is a 0 just because the drumming solo. It's interesting, but I don't know if I enjoy listening to it.
Okay, fair. That's kind of exactly how I felt about it too.
So,
Not too
if I did have
controversial.
Drowned Beast as a 2, which is how it was when I first started to be a 136, I
Oh
would
wow,
go up
that's really
10 points.
wow.
But
That's for me. Albums in the 136 would be. I'm pretty sure Thriller.
yeah,
This album
133 or
freaking
whatever is
slaps.
what you had as introducing.
Drunk. Drunk. Mr. Morale new album.
I think I like this album more than Mr. Morale.
Wow.
No, because we had similar scores.
Yeah, almost identical.
But you'll be on our table just the same.
No, people talk about this album and it's like, okay, like I get it. It was like a cool album that the OCs did. It might be their magnum opus, but you know, I think they've got better stuff, and I'm not gonna choose this album most of the time.
Yeah, fair.
I
remember when we first were doing, like when I was first dreading, I think it was because I don't remember what was happening, but you said something in which I was not looking forward to doing this album. Like, don't worry, you'll probably give it like a 70, which was wrong, but yeah, I have like a lukewarm to it.
Yeah, you were probably like, oh, I don't want to do, and I was like, it's not. What do you think? And the rest of their stuff isn't right. Either. I don't think so. Yeah. I think even some of that you'd find yourself.
Well, apparently that
pleasantly
Witch Egg
slightly.
side project sounds really sick based on the genre description.
They do have some albums though that are bad. I'm telling you now.
Everyone does.
But well, they've got 26, and I'd say at least half of them are bad.
Holy crap!
So maybe even more than that. They maybe have like 7 or 8 good albums.
Yikes!
But yeah, Damage Bug. All Damage Bug is good though. But other than that, we'll get into the closing thoughts, right?
Yes, sir.
I have 2 stories about their live shows. So they recently came here about 2 months ago.
Oh wow!
I was able to sneak in because it was a festival, but I snuck in late, and I only caught their last 2 songs, and I'm so mad about that because they are so good live. And the songs that I did hear, I was like, this is probably like one of the best live shows I've ever fucking been to. I feel like I say that about a lot, but like Flume and Black Lips weren't that cool comparatively to like Death Grips or
Cool
OCs.
Be here in August. I might go.
I'm down to go to that.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be in Europe for a little bit, but hopefully it's not while I'm in Europe. Early August?
I don't remember.
I'd be down to go, but
it's a bummer. I wonder what a Bummer Tunes album would be like. How do you like make the crowd go wild when you're just like crying in the microphone?
Well, I've been to like lower tempo like Starfucker, but I don't know. And then the second story I have about a live show is in high school when I first got my job at UPS right out of high school.
Hey.
Logan, Lucas, and Jordy all went to Montana to see them live. Logan says it was the best show of his life to this day. He was on acid for a good chunk of it, but
of course.
They said, I don't know, they're just the stories they said. They were like, you have to see this band live, Aaron. So the fact that I missed them when I finally got my chance, I was pretty upset. But they said it was an awesome show. I think their 2000s work and early 2010s work is what makes this band a prominent force in the scene, being at the forefront of that scene. These guys are, I mean, he started the record that most members of the record company that most members of the scene will use. So they do have a song on GTA 5 soundtrack.
Whoa, what is it again?
The Dream, I think.
I don't think I know that off the dome.
I think that the track names are very interesting. I don't exactly get why, but I like the naming of all the tracks.
Tower Castle.
Raw Optics. That's Cooling Tower. Drowned Beast.
Static God is a way. Dude, the images.
God, I don't know.
The images that are going to be created based on these titles and lyrics are going to go crazy hard.
Yeah. That's all I have though. Well, I guess I'll not necessarily. overall, the album is a must for OC's fans, and it was one of their magnum opuses. That's all I have.
Opie.
One of their magnum opie.
Do I recommend it? Does it get my stamp of approval? Nah, it's a 40. But I mean, if you guys liked what you heard on the preview, it's not a bad listen by any stretch of the imagination.
I think there's a lot of people who do appreciate the album. I think it's held in fairly high regard. So
yeah, this week gave me similar vibes to the Tina Turner Boards of Canada week in terms of like an okay album and a bad album made the okay album really nice to listen to. So like, I get it. It was nice. It was good to listen to in contrast, but I don't think it's anything I'm really going to be tossing on my record rotation anytime soon. I liked it though.
I haven't heard it in years, to be honest. So until we did this episode, fair. I'm not gonna throw it on much either. There's a lot of other stuff I could be listening to, but if I would say like OC's, like okay, probably you should hear Orc. You know, if OC's comes up in conversation, Orc is probably the album.
Okay, that's good to know.
Of all their albums, so that's saying something.
Well, I'm gonna go empty my bowels.